Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that you never have to be angry again? That no person, no insult, no offense can ever disturb your peace again. Imagine living in complete freedom, unmoved, unshaken, untouchable. Sounds impossible. It isn't. Let me ask you this: who controls your emotions? You might say, well, they made me angry. They offended me. But is that true? Did they climb into your mind, take over your thoughts, and force you to react? Or did you choose to be angry? The power to remain unshaken lies within you. No one, no situation, no words have the ability to control your emotions unless you allow them. The world around you is unpredictable. People will come and go. Opinions will change. Circumstances will shift. But amidst all of this, there is one thing that remains constant: your inner world. If you can master that, nothing and no one will ever have the power to disturb your peace. Imagine a great tree standing tall in the midst of a raging storm. The winds howl, the rain pours, and yet the tree remains unmoved because its roots run deep. That is the kind of strength you must cultivate within yourself. When you build your foundation on something greater than opinions, circumstances, and fleeting emotions, you become immovable. You do not react, you respond. You do not break, you rise. Anger, frustration, and offense come when you allow external forces to dictate your internal state. But what if you reverse the equation? What if instead of being affected by the world, you became the one affecting it? The moment you realize that your peace is your responsibility, everything changes. You are no longer a victim of words, moods, or negativity. You step into power, the power to decide how you will feel, how you will think, and how you will act. People often believe that controlling emotions means suppressing them, but this is not mastery, it is avoidance. True mastery is understanding that emotions are signals, not dictators. You may feel anger, but you do not have to act on it. You may feel frustration, but you do not have to be ruled by it. Mastery is knowing that you have the ability to acknowledge emotions without becoming their prisoner. Think of a mirror. It reflects whatever stands before it, but it is not changed by it. When a storm passes, the mirror remains the same. That is how you must be. If someone insults you, it reflects them, not you. If someone lashes out, it is a reflection of their inner turmoil, not your worth. Why take it personally? Why allow their storm to become yours? To master your inner world, you must first be aware of your thoughts. Where do they come from? Are they truly yours, or have you allowed the world to plant them in your mind? The words of others, the expectations of society, the wounds of the past, are they dictating your emotions? If so, it is time to take back control. Begin by creating space between stimulus and response. When something provokes you, do not react immediately. Pause, breathe. Ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? 9 times out of 10, you will find that it does not. What once triggered you will lose its power because you no longer hand over control to the outside world. You have mastered the one thing that matters most, yourself. And when you master your inner world, you become untouchable. Most people live under the illusion that they can control the world around them. They believe that if they say the right things, act the right way, or plan perfectly, they can shape how others behave, how circumstances unfold, and how life treats them. But this belief is a trap, a deception that only leads to frustration, disappointment, anger. The truth is, you control far less than you think. People will act according to their nature, situations will evolve beyond your expectations, and life will move in ways you never anticipated. The more you try to force outcomes, the more powerless you will feel. The more you try to control others, the more you will find yourself at their mercy. Think about it. How many times have you felt frustrated because someone didn't behave the way you wanted them to? How many times have you been upset because things didn't go according to plan? That frustration does not come from the situation itself, but from your resistance to reality. You wanted things to be one way, but they turned out another. The pain is not in the event, it is in your unwillingness to let go. Freedom begins when you release the need to control what is beyond you. Imagine carrying a heavy rope tied to a wild horse. Every time the horse pulls, you pull back, trying to tame it, trying to force it in the direction you want it to go. The struggle exhausts you, frustrates you, even hurts you, but the moment you drop the rope, the struggle ends. The horse may still run wild, but it no longer drags you with it. This is what happens when you let go of the illusion of control. People will say what they say. They will think what they think. You cannot make someone respect you, love you, understand you, or agree with you. You cannot force the world to be fair, predictable, or comfortable. The only thing you can control is your response. When you stop trying to control everything else, you discover the one thing that has always been within your power: you. Your peace, your mindset, your emotions, your actions, these are yours alone. Some people spend their entire lives trapped in the prison of expectation, believing that if only others would change, they could finally be happy. But what if happiness has nothing to do with others? What if peace is not something you gain by fixing the world, but by freeing yourself from the need to fix it? When you let go of expectations, you let go of suffering. When you accept reality as it is, rather than how you wish it to be, you become untouchable. Detachment is not about apathy or indifference. It is about wisdom. It is the realization that holding on to what you cannot control only leads to pain. It is the freedom of knowing that nothing outside of you has the power to dictate your inner state unless you allow it. Offense is a trap, a hidden snare designed to pull you into a cycle of anger, resentment, and emotional turmoil. It is one of the easiest ways to lose your peace, to become distracted, and to waste your energy on battles that do not serve you. But what if you refuse to take the bait? What if you realize that offense is not given, it is taken? That means no one can offend you unless you allow it. The words of others, their actions, their opinions, these are only as powerful as the meaning you give them. When you rise above offense, you step into a place of true strength where nothing and no one has the power to control your emotions. People will say things that are unfair. They will misunderstand you. They will criticize you. That is the nature of the world. But ask yourself, does their opinion define you? If someone calls you a name, does that suddenly become your identity? If they mock your dreams, does that diminish your purpose? If they disrespect you, does that change your worth? The answer is no, unless you choose to believe it does. The real damage does not come from what others say. It comes from the moment you accept their words as truth. Think of a bird flying high in the sky. Below, people may throw stones, but the bird is too high for them to reach. The higher it flies, the smaller the stones become. This is how you must live. The higher your perspective, the less the small things will affect you. When you allow offense to take root, it keeps you grounded, trapped in the pettiness of human drama. But when you choose to rise above, you free yourself. Taking offense often comes from pride, the belief that people must treat you a certain way, that they owe you kindness, respect, or fairness. But reality does not work that way. People act according to their own nature, their own wounds, and their own insecurities. Their behavior is a reflection of them, not of you. When you truly understand this, their words lose power. You no longer react, you observe. You no longer get pulled into their negativity. You rise above it. There is great wisdom in choosing silence over argument, peace over reaction, and wisdom over pride. Just because you are insulted does not mean you have to defend yourself. Just because you are criticized does not mean you have to prove anything. The strongest people are not those who fight every battle. They are those who know which battles are beneath them. When you refuse to take offense, you rob others of their ability to control you. True power is not in revenge or retaliation. It is in the ability to remain unmoved, to see things clearly, to understand that no offense can touch you unless you let it. When you live from this place, you walk in a freedom few ever experience, the freedom of being untouchable. Life is not just what is seen, it is also what is unseen. The reality that most people live in is shaped by emotions, circumstances, and the opinions of others. They react to what happens around them, caught in an endless cycle of highs and lows, victories and defeats. But there is another way to live a way that is not dictated by the temporary, but by the eternal. When you live in a higher reality, you see beyond the surface, you recognize that everything happening around you is fleeting, but who you are within is what truly matters. Imagine an eagle soaring high above the earth. Fellow people rush through life consumed by worry, fear, and nightshin. But from above, everything looks different. The storms that seem overwhelming from the ground appear small from the sky. The struggles that once seemed unbearable become insignificant. This is what happens when you elevate your perspective. You no longer see obstacles as threats, you see them as opportunities. You no longer take every hardship personally, you understand that they are shaping you. The higher you rise, the smaller the world's troubles become. Living in a higher reality means understanding that most of what disturbs you is temporary. The words of others, the setbacks, the disappointments, they will all pass. But if you allow them to define you, they become permanent in your mind. The only way to be truly free is to rise above them, to refuse to be controlled by things that are here today and gone tomorrow. When you live with this mindset, you no longer react, you respond with wisdom. You no longer cling to every situation, you trust that all things are working for your growth. Most people are trapped in a lower reality because they believe what they see is all there is. They live by emotions rather than truth. If something goes wrong, they feel as if their entire world is falling apart. If someone disrespects them, they take it as a personal attack. They fight battles that don't matter, wasting their energy on things that will not matter in the long run. But when you live in a higher reality, you see through the illusion. You realize that what offends you today will be forgotten tomorrow. What seems like a loss today may turn out to be the greatest gain of your life. Nothing is as final as it seems, and nothing has power over you unless you allow it. The secret to living in a higher reality is detachment, not from life, but from the need to control it. You are no longer a prisoner to circumstances, to people's opinions, or to temporary emotions. You move with purpose, not reaction. You see from a greater perspective, one that is not shaken by the temporary. And in that place, you find peace. You find clarity. You find true power, because when you live in a higher reality, the world no longer controls you, you rise above it. When you anchor yourself in a greater purpose, you become unshakable. The world around you may shift, people may come and go, circumstances may change, but none of it will have the power to move you. Why? Because you are not living for fleeting things, you are living for something greater, something unbreakable. Most people are easily swayed by the words of others, by temporary failures, or by external pressures because they have no deeper foundation. They base their worth on approval, success, comfort, or control, but these things are unreliable. The moment something goes wrong, they lose their peace. The moment someone disrespects them, they feel worthless. But when your life is built on a greater purpose, no storm can shake you. Think of a mighty tree planted by a river. Its roots run deep, reaching into a source that never runs dry. Even in a drought, it stands tall because it does not rely on surface water. It is sustained by something deeper. That is what it means to be anchored. When you know why you are here, when you know that your life is about something greater than yourself, the opinions of others lose their power. Temporary failures do not define you. Setbacks do not stop you. You are no longer moved by every passing wind because your foundation is deeper than the surface. Many people live without direction, chasing after whatever seems important in the moment. They get lost in comparison, seeking validation, trying to prove themselves. But when you are anchored in a greater purpose, you stop running aimlessly. You stop wasting energy on things that do not matter. You know what you are here to do, and that clarity becomes your strength. Instead of being tossed around by emotions, distractions, and negativity, you move with intention. You do not lower yourself to fight meaningless battles because you understand that your mission is bigger than any insult, any challenge, or any temporary hardship. Purpose gives pain meaning. Without it, struggles feel pointless and difficulties feel like roadblocks. But when you have a higher calling, every obstacle becomes a lesson, every challenge becomes a stepping stone. You begin to see trials not as something to avoid, but as something to learn from. Even failures become part of the process, shaping you into who you were meant to be. Nothing is wasted when you live with purpose. Every experience, whether good or bad, serves your growth. When you are anchored, you do not seek approval because you already know who you are. You do not fear failure because you understand that your purpose is bigger than one moment of defeat. You do not get lost in the noise of the world because your direction is clear. You become a force that cannot be moved, a light that cannot be dimmed. And when the storms of life come, as they always do, you will stand firm because you are not living for the temporary, but for something far greater. Every attack against you carries hidden power, but only if you know how to use it. Most people see opposition, criticism, and betrayal as obstacles, as things that wound them, discourage them, and hold them back. But what if every attack was actually fuel? What if instead of weakening you, it was meant to make you stronger? The difference between those who rise and those who fall is not what happens to them, but how they respond. The greatest victories are often born from the hardest battles, and the strongest people are not those who avoid attacks, but those who transform them into strength. When someone speaks against you, your first instinct may be to defend yourself, to argue, or to prove them wrong. But in doing so, you are giving them power over you. Their words have now dictated your emotions, your energy, and your focus. Instead of using your strength to move forward, you waste it on fighting battles that do not matter. The greatest response to an attack is not to engage in it, but to rise above it. Every insult, every betrayal, every attempt to bring you down is an opportunity to build something greater. Think of fire, it can destroy or it can refine. A weak person lets the fire consume them, allowing anger, bitterness, and revenge to take over. But a strong person allows the fire to purify them, burning away pride, insecurity, and fear. When you stop seeing attacks as threats and start seeing them as tests, you unlock a power most people never find. You begin to understand that no one can truly harm you unless you allow them to. Their words do not define you. Their actions do not limit you. You alone decide what you take from each situation. Some of the most powerful figures in history were shaped by opposition. They faced rejection, betrayal, and hardship, but instead of breaking under the weight of it, they used it to fuel their purpose. They let the attacks sharpen their focus, refine their character, and deepen their resolve. Every time someone tried to stop them, it only made them stronger. That is how you must live. The attack is not meant to destroy you, it is meant to elevate you. Instead of reacting with emotion, respond with wisdom. If someone underestimates you, let it push you to work harder. If someone disrespects you, let it remind you that your worth does not come from them. If life knocks you down, let it be the force that propels you higher. The greatest revenge is not anger, it is success. The greatest response is not retaliation, it is rising so high that the attack becomes meaningless. Power is not in avoiding opposition, it is in knowing how to use it. When you reach the point where nothing can shake you, when every attack becomes another step forward, you will realize that no one can truly defeat you because you have already turned every battle into strength.